Hello guys, and welcome to Abu Dhabi for the Season 2 finale in this F1 2014 100% race career. Just trying to correct some setup issues I had here during practice. It seems like some of the curbs here at Marina are pretty auto spin-like, so I figured I'd try a higher ride height and see if I could get more of the curbs without spinning so much. But it really didn't seem to do much for me, so we're going to be putting down the ride height once more and just trying not to get hung up on the curbs so much. Anyways, jumping right ahead here to our first lap in Q1. Beautiful sunny day, not surprisingly, here at Abu Dhabi, and the track temperature is up, so we should be able to get in a pretty good lap here. We're not really pushing it that hard, just want to get into Q2 without too much hassle here, and a 143, 180, that should be more than enough to get us into Q2, so we're just going to pull it over to the side here and just ease it back to the pits here and see if we can't save the tires. And indeed it is good enough here. Best time so far, and right ahead of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. But looking at the times, you can easily see nobody's really putting the foot down yet, and I expect that to change in Q2, and if not in Q2, then at the very least in Q3. And looking at the non-qualifiers here, no big names among them, so we jump straight ahead here to our first time in Q2. New set of options for this session. We're only going to be doing the one lap here, unless our first time here turned out to be complete rubbish, but I don't think that's going to be the case. This has been a fairly decent lap so far, and unless we run off here in the final turn, we should be able to breeze into the shootout fairly easily. Bottas on provisionary pole, we beat him fairly soundly, almost a full second there. So we're going to be taking it back to the pits and see how far this one takes us. And again, no problem there whatsoever. 1 second faster than Valtteri Bottas almost, but I do feel that both the Mercs there and probably also the Red Bulls have something left in the engine that they haven't put out on the track yet. So I think things are going to change here for Q3. Jenson Button and both the Ferraris not qualifying for the shootout. Lap 1 in Q3, just edging Sebastian Vettel here by a matter of thousandths of a second, but not a very good time here. So we're going to be staying out on the track, see if we can improve on that. And I do realize that the track temperatures are down a little bit due to the sun setting, but I do feel we should be able to improve on that time. And we do, almost a full second there. But as you can see, Nico Rosberg over half a second faster than us, and I can't see Hamilton anywhere, so I'm kind of fearing that he might not have put in his first time yet. So we stay out on track for a third lap here, hoping to improve even further, because I do not want to start behind Hamilton in this race if I can help it. I really need to finish ahead of him, but we're not going to be able to improve on our time here, so we're just going to have to make do with what we have so far. And it appears that we are going to be starting second on the grid for tomorrow's race. And look at Hamilton there all the way down in 6th position, and that is not going to hurt our chances of winning the Drivers' Championship here. All we have to do is finish third if Hamilton wins the race. If he does not win the race, it puts the odds even further in our favor. So we are going to be aiming to stay in the top 3 and just do our bit and not be dependent on what everybody else does. Just going over the race strategy here, 2-stop race. Not really sure whether or not I should go for a set of primes here for the middle stint, but then again, the AI always seem to be faster on the final stint. That is where we seem to be struggling, so I'm guessing maybe having two option stints right after one another might give us a chance to open up a bit of a gap if we're lucky. And I guess for the final stint there, if we have to, we can just park the bus as well as we possibly can, but hopefully that is not going to be the case here. Getting ready for the start, and we get a very good start here. Look at Ricciardo coming down the inside of Nico Rosberg. They're heading into turn 1, almost touching wheels with us. We have to turn a little early here, running wide on the exit, but we are into P1, and Ricciardo and Rosberg almost touching wheels. Once again, they're having to slow down. We are opening up a huge gap here, as Rosberg is now caught in the Red Bull sandwich there. He has Ricciardo ahead of him, Vettel immediately behind him. The Williams cars there of Valtteri Bottas and Felipe Massa are immediately behind Sebastian Vettel. I could not see Hamilton on that particular shot, so I'm not really sure where he's at the moment. but just have a look at the gap that we are opening up at the moment there. And it was quite clear that somebody had to step on the brakes in one of the early turns, otherwise we would not be this far ahead. And looking at the times there, we have almost a full 4-second lead over Ricciardo, and Vettel is now into third position, having overtaken Nico Rosberg. But I'm not really sure about the time there. If you look at the mini-map, it appears that Vettel is at least 2 or 3 seconds behind Ricciardo and not 1.5 seconds as the time slot says. But I guess the good news are that even if this lead that we're opening up at the moment are due to someone having to tangle with each other in the corners or something like that, we have both the Red Bulls now in places 2 and 3, and they are going to be holding up the Mercs for at least some time, and we're going to have to use that to our advantage. Jumping right ahead to lap 4, we are still well out ahead here just as we lock up the front left here. As you can see, we have almost a 6-second lead over Ricciardo, who is still in second. Vettel's still in third, and he's about 5 seconds down on Ricciardo, meaning he's about 10 seconds behind us. Also, you can see Hamilton is moving up in the standings there. If you just looked at the mini-map, I'm not really sure what position he's in right now, but he's probably in 4th or 5th. I'm not sure what happened to Rosberg. Again, he seems to be falling off the radar quickly, and this is just not his year. Lap 7, we put in the fastest lap of the race so far, still expanding on the gap here, pulling further and further away from Ricciardo. Hamilton is now up into P3 and is about 4 seconds down on Ricciardo. Jumping ahead to lap 11 here, Lewis Hamilton has now passed Daniel Ricciardo and is into P2 at the moment here, but we are still holding him off nicely as we've been taking care of our tires. We are due to come in for our first pit stop at, I believe, lap 16 or 17, meaning we are well over halfway through our first stint here. But our tires are still in fine shape, and we are still able to do some fast laps here. Well, maybe not this particular lap, but that was mainly due to us having to pass some back markers there. But everything seems to be going our way at the moment here, and I don't think we had expected to be this fast. Jumping to lap 14 here, Hamilton has been able to chew off a couple of seconds of our 10-second gap there, and is only about 8 seconds down on us right now. But that is to be expected. We have been saving a little bit of fuel here, taking advantage of the huge gap that we had, and just making sure that we have a fuel reserve late in the race, especially for that final stint there that is going to be on prime tires. Jumping to lap 16, and Hamilton is really getting that Mercedes underway now, putting in the fastest lap of the race here late in the first stint, and he has to be on somewhat worn tires just as we are, so that is pretty impressive at this point here. He's only about 6 seconds down on us right now. Ricciardo's still in third. Skipping ahead to lap 18, we are coming into the pits with Lewis Hamilton right behind us here. This is going to be our first stop, and we are going to be switching to another set of options here for the middle stint. And at least this time, we did not get jumped in the pits by Hamilton, but he's only 3.5 seconds down on us. And seemingly we are going to be rejoining the track here in second position. Daniel Ricciardo is out in front, but he has not made his first pit stop yet, which could indicate that he has started on the prime tire and is going to be switching to options for the 2 final stints. Jumping ahead to lap 20 here, we are opening up a gap again on Lewis Hamilton, and it appears that he has opted to go for the prime tire here for the middle stint, meaning we absolutely have to put some distance between him and us on this stint, as he's going to be on the faster compound late in the race. So the seconds we put into him now is most likely something he's going to be eating away at us on the final and dying laps of the race here. But remember, we only have to finish third for us to win the title today. Skipping to lap 23, we are holding up our end of the bargain, so to speak here, increasing our gap over Lewis Hamilton. Ricciardo's still in third at this point, and we are coming up on some more back markers here, and hopefully we're just going to be able to navigate these as quickly as humanly possible, because you could easily lose 2 or 3 seconds here if you end up on the wrong side of a back marker at the wrong turn. And as you can see there, we now have a 10-second gap on Hamilton, who is struggling to keep up on those prime tires. Jumping ahead to lap 30 here, again, we have been able to take care of our tires and are getting as much out of this set of options as we possibly can. We have increased the gap to Lewis Hamilton even further, as we are now almost 14 seconds ahead of him. And at this point, things are starting to look really good in terms of our championship dreams here. I'm not really sure how Hamilton is going to be able to come back from this, even if he drives an out-of-this-world final stint. Lap 31, tons of debris in the corner here. Somebody's crashed into someone, and we have a yellow flag situation right here. 2 cars pulled over to the right there, and we are going from 21 running cars to 19. Lap 35, this is going to be our second and final pit stop of the race. We are going to be changing for the prime tire here that we are going to be finishing the race on. And I'm not really sure when Hamilton is due to come in. He's on the prime tire, but he's going to be jumping us here as he passes us on the main straight. And we are going to be coming out a few seconds behind him. Hopefully, we are going to be able to close the gap a little bit here on these fresh prime tires, as his have to be somewhat worn at the very least. And on lap 38 here, Hamilton is pulling into the pits. He's going to be fitting the option tire, meaning he is most likely going to be a lot faster than us on the final stint here. Good news is we managed to keep him at bay on the few laps here between our pit stop and his pit stop here. He was not able to open up a gap on us, so we were matching speed with him, which bodes somewhat well for the final stint, even though he's on the faster compound. Skipping to lap 44 here, Hamilton is starting to close the gap on us a little bit. He's only about 9 seconds down on us right now, but still, with only 11 laps left in this race, to close a 9-second gap, he's going to have to drive a pretty flawless race, while we probably have to make a few mistakes along the way here too. So we are going to be taking it as easy as we possibly can while still trying to put in some good laps here, and hopefully that'll be enough. Jumping to lap 48, it appears that I spoke a little bit too soon, as Hamilton is definitely chewing away at our lead right now. 3.5 seconds down only, and we have 7 laps remaining in the race. But still, you have to remember, we need to finish third only to make sure that we win the championship here today. But I would really like to close this season out with a win as we lock up the front left there. We've been doing that a couple of times today, and that is not going to help our chances here, I'm afraid. Just almost losing the back end there, coming out of the second to last turn there as well. These primes are taking a beating, and I was really hoping we have the chance to conserve them a little bit better than we have so far, but not so. Jumping to lap 51, Hamilton is right on our bumper right now, and is really starting to put us under pressure here as we run wide, cut corners, and this has just been an awful lap as these tires are really starting to go, unfortunately. And our main problem here is that we are having trouble keeping Hamilton away in the twisty and turny parts of the track here. We seem to be able to match him fine in the high-speed turns and on the straights there, but when it comes to the slower and high-traction turns, we're getting beat. But then again, it's not a place where he can actually pass us. We have to make a mistake, but we are making mistakes left and right at this point. Jumping to lap 53, this is Groundhog Day all over again, only our tires are getting more and more beat by every lap, and Hamilton is putting us under increasing pressure as we are really struggling to match his pace here in the turns. And I'm really starting to wonder if we wouldn't be better off by just letting him pass us here and just nurse the car home to a safe second position. But call me unprofessional, call me a proud fool, but I really, really want to win this race. throwing the engine into rich mode here, trying to keep him at bay on the straight. He is most likely going to have a look down the outside of us here, so we're just going to be drifting slightly to the right here, closing him off. He has to go for the switch over, but he's not in a position to pass us, and this was probably his moment. If he was going to make a move here, that was the place. Just getting a little too much of the curb here, almost losing the back end. That really would have stunk to give up the position right there. As some of you may recall, that is where we lost first position to Sebastian Vettel on, I think it was the second to last lap last year. That really would have been a nasty deja vu if ever there was one. And again, the back end stepping out here. These tires are completely gone, but there is nothing Hamilton is going to be able to do about this. We are going to be taking the win here at the season finale at Abu Dhabi, and we are going to be taking the Drivers' Championship here at Season 2. So we take the win here today ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Daniel Ricciardo is in third, Sebastian Vettel is fourth, Felipe Massa fifth, Jenson Button is in sixth position, Alonso finishes in seventh, Perez eighth, Hülkenberg ninth, and Raikkonen 10th. And just going over the DNFs here, again, Nico Rosberg failing to finish the race. This has been an absolute nightmare season for him.
With first in the drivers and second in the constructors. It's been a truly memorable season. All that hard work has really paid off. Congratulations.
So we managed to take the Drivers' Championship here ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Felipe Massa is in third, and Rosberg does not even make the podium. Well, looking at the season here, I think we got the most out of that McLaren there. Had to realize pretty quickly we were not going to be able to hang with the Mercs in the corners, and definitely not the Red Bulls either. So it was a question of pretty much banking on straight line speed, and I think once we figured that little gem out, we seem to be holding our own pretty well. Mercedes, not surprisingly, taking the Constructors' Championship. What is surprising, though, is that we finished second, and Red Bull Racing is in third. As always, guys, if you enjoyed this, please don't forget to leave a like or subscribe to this channel for more F1 2014 action, and I'll be seeing you soon enough. Bye-bye.